Welcome to Loving Me Before I Love You with Tammy Nicole, the podcast dedicated to you loving and putting yourself first. Others have come first in your life for years, and you know it's time for that to change. You're about to be empowered to set healthy boundaries, confidently have hard conversations, unapologetically put yourself first, and live the peaceful life you deserve. Remember, self-love is essential, and loving yourself sets the stage for every other love in your life. So get ready to embrace self-love like never before with your host, Coach Tammy Nicole.
Oh my goodness. We're back for the final Tuesday of the year. Can y'all believe that? Can y'all believe that it is the final Tuesday of the year? We are going to close out our December episodes with a rebirth and renewal, preparing yourself for major life transformations. And I have a special guest with me. Her name is Miss Cassandra Hill. She is a coach, and she's coaching entrepreneurs, and I'm going to let her do her own introduction, but I am super excited that she has joined us for this episode because entrepreneurs change things in life too. They don't just stay on no one track mind. They don't just do things one way. And most of us have 20,000 things that we're doing because we need 20,000 streams of income to do the life that we want to live. So I want to welcome her and introduce her. No other. We have Miss Cassandra Hill. Welcome to the show, Cassandra.
Oh, thanks so much, Tammy, for the invitation to be part of this amazing platform that you're building and growing. So, hey, everybody. This is Cassandra Hill, your transformation agent for Black women. And what I do, I specialize in up-leveling Black women entrepreneurs in having that emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being, and then getting the visibility, the strategies that your business needs to fulfill the vision that God has for your business.
Absolutely. That is so wonderful. And we need it, right? We really need coaches out here that is motivating us to be our best self. I continue to help women do the self-love journey as a whole, right? I think if you don't love yourself, it's really important. It's really darn near impossible to do things that you want to do in life that has that fulfillment behind it. Not that you can't be successful, because you can be successful and miserable at the same time. They do coexist. However, to be successful, happy, and fulfilled is a whole nother level, and you can't do that if you don't love yourself. I mean, I think a lot of people are figuring that out these days. Because you see it all over the place. Self-love, 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 self-worth, self-value, finding out who you are, appreciating it and cultivating it. But in order to do all of those things, sometimes that leads us to a life transformation, right? It just says, oh my goodness, I'm a mess and I need to transform some things, right? How do you help women get on that path? Do you help them simply identify that they need it? Or do you help them, once they identify that they need it, move into it?
Normally when a woman comes to me, she knows she needs something not right. I need some support. So generally when she comes to me, and it's so, you guys, literally, this is my first conversation with the great Coach Tammy, and it is so, this is how you know God is in this room right now, because normally when I work with ladies, as we work on their emotional and mental well-being, that's self-love. That is where I start, because when you don't completely love yourself, baby, like Tammy said, you can have quote unquote success, but you feel empty inside because you don't value you and your worth and what you bring to the table. and you may have success. And trust me, I've been on the other side of it. I've done the work. This is how I'm so familiar with it. I know it from real lived experience. And then, of course, I've been to college and studied and all the things. But I tell you, a textbook won't teach you the same way life will. And so we start on that self-love, because as you understand your value, your worth, it's going to cause you to take action.
Absolutely.
For many women, it looks like rebirth of new relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you do the work and start looking at your circle, many times you understand and realize that you kept people in your life who passed the expiration date. That's all. The expiration date ended on them. It's just like some milk. You forgot that the milk was in there, and you messed around and looked at the expiration date like, I need to toss this milk out. It need to hit the trash. And that happens in relationships as well. So we identify that inner circle, those people who are holding you back from truly loving yourself and knowing your worth, and even delving into that in your business. Because let's face it, you've probably accepted clients the same way. They didn't value you, didn't appreciate what you bring, and so they drain you.
Absolutely. I think that having an inner circle, a support system that is on the same wavelength that you are, is super, super important. When I do my course, Resilient Woman, Resilient Self, and teaching women how to start the self-love journey and take them on that journey, support systems are super, super important. We need to know who can hold us accountable and who can hold us accountable for our well-being, and not just, didn't you say you was going to go do X, Y, and Z? Why you didn't do that? It's more about, you didn't complete the task. Can you tell me what held you back from that? Remember, you have tomorrow. It's, like, you want someone that's going to encourage you as well as check you, right? Because there are times that we get discouraged. We don't want to do the things that are required to make the new change, to do the rebirth or the renewal. We just simply like, man, I just kind of want this to just happen. Can I just snap my fingers and it be where I want it to be? Everything that's worth having takes work, period.
Yeah, period. You think about it, an elephant gets pregnant and a dog gets pregnant. They get pregnant the same exact day. Now the dog, just snap of your fingers, dog done gave birth, got a whole boatload of puppies. But with this elephant, we know the size of elephants. Everybody done been to the zoo. You either done went as a kid, you probably got kids and done took them to the zoo. And you get to the elephants, even the baby kid elephants, those things are so big. And so with the elephant, do you realize the elephant is pregnant for 18 months?
Yeah.
18 months. So when you're birthing something great, something significant, something of value, it takes time. Please, I encourage you, if you don't get anything else, which hopefully you'll gain a lot of golden nuggets, but please know, right now in these online streets, people are telling you that you can grow your business to 6 figures, 7 figures in 90 days. That's the biggest lie. I'm just sorry to tell you. No, it takes time. It takes having the right foundation, the right systems, operation, just all these things. So don't beat yourself up believing what you see online, because that's just for the cameras.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say, I think that certain things can happen, but how sustainable is it? Right. So it's not
Yeah.
that you per se can't make the money in 90 days, because I've seen people do it. But how sustainable is it is the real key. And the reason that I'm saying that is because, as Cassandra just mentioned, having like a foundation is super important in business, period. So you can go out here and start something today, make 100 grand within 90 days. But if you don't know how to maintain and sustain that, will you make that 100,000 in the next 90 days? Will you keep making, or will you be able to scale it and make 200,000, 300,000, 500,000? You have to be astute when it comes to business to understand what are the fundamentals in making sure that this business is successful. So being able to do something in a short amount of time is definitely possible. That's exactly what I say. Like, you can be successful and miserable because you don't have certain things in place. You can gain the money, but you probably lose it 5 seconds later because you didn't prepare yourself on how to maintain the money. And that's why I say people that get rich and don't have an understanding of what wealth is, because rich and wealth is two different things, they will be broken poor in a few months later because all they did was spend the money. They didn't know how to make the money do the work.
That's
And
so
so for
true.
me, a
So
successful
true.
entrepreneur, a
And
successful,
honestly, I've had clients where, okay, you may have, and that's why I say you really don't have it, because if you generate, let's say you have a successful month or two and you generate 80, 90, but then you don't have systems in place, you don't have operations to where
yep,
this thing can be repeated, you lose it. It
yep,
is literally gone just like that.
like
And
a
then a
vapor.
lot of times your well-being is destroyed in the process, your peace of mind, so not only is your most valuable asset, which is you, is at zero, so is the business. And that is just, another thing. When you think about your business,
Mm-hmm.
your business will only grow to where you're at. So wherever you're at, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that's where your business is. So it is so critical to do the work on your personal development.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As a man thinketh, so is he. Right. So when you are trying to decide how to move or what that transition looks like, it's super imperative to know who you are and where you are. Right.
Yeah.
So when people are making these changes, we just talked about how you have to know who you are. Their mindset is going to play
Mhm.
a big role, right?
Yeah.
How can entrepreneurs cultivate resilience and adaptive mindsets as they're trying to make changes?
Resiliency, that's the key. I say what's really important in developing that resiliency is doing a mental health detox is so vital. Many entrepreneurs, based on the latest research, 72% of entrepreneurs will experience some type of mental health challenge, and that's in comparison to 48% of people who choose not to pursue entrepreneurship. So our mental health is so important. When you think about doing a mental health detox, what that looks like, you'll take 7 days, and in those 7 days, you're focused on feeding your brain, your mind, positivity. You take a break And with this being the end of the year, this is a real good time to pause, take a break. You're not on social media. You're not watching television. Taking a break from all the noise, And as you're taking a break from that, every day you wake up, you're beginning your day with meditation and prayer. After that, you're sitting still for 20 minutes, just sitting still. And what you will discover, if you're a person of faith, I know me personally, I do believe in God. So God speaks to us. But a lot of times we're so busy that we don't listen. We're not able to hear him. And so in that quiet time, he will download some of the best plans you'll have for your life or your business. You'll find it in those still moments. So you're doing that for 20 minutes. And then as you've taken away television, social media, all that, you're creating more time to feed your mind positivity. So you're reading books that enrich you, whether you're picking up a book or audio book, you're listening to podcasts like this that's feeding yourself positive thoughts. You're doing that every day for at least an hour, doing those 7 days. And then another thing that you're doing, you're assessing each and every relationship in your life. Those inner circle relationships typically is 5 people that you spend the most time with. And as you write your feelings about that, write how when you're around a certain person, how you feel. Are you happy? Are you sad? You're doing that for those 7 days. And I guarantee you do that for 7 days straight, you're going to walk away with clarity like no other. And I also recommend when you're doing the mental health detox, if you combine it with just paying attention to what you put into your body, your temple, giving yourself a break from meat, focusing on uptaking your fruits, your veggies, taking a break from soda. If you drink alcohol, taking a break from that as well. Just drinking the herbal teas, water, of course, smoothies, things like that. And that way you're able to think clearer because your brain has the proper nutrition as you're doing this mental health detox.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. I think a lot of times we don't do a lot of self-reflection, right? So we can also use that time to really look deep within to see, like, how are we showing up? How are we showing up for ourselves? How do we show up for others? How do we show up for our businesses? Things of that nature. Because a lot of times we're on autopilot, right? And when you're on autopilot, you're just moving. You're just moving. You're not necessarily being intentional all the time, which we should. Mindfulness is a real thing. And when you can be in the moment and be intentional about what you're doing, what you're saying, who you're interacting with, it does a whole lot for you. It allows you to free yourself from being a people pleaser. It allows you to free yourself from the expectations of others. So I 100% agree with the mental health detox. Sometimes you need to take it once a month, once a quarter, whatever feels good for you and your lifestyle. But being able to unplug is super, super, super important. So I 100% agree with that. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that tidbit, because a lot of times people don't even know that they need a mental health break. They take it from work. They'll take it from stuff that, that's like stressing them out, but they don't even realize that social media is a stressor.
Yeah, we need mental health breaks, not just from work, but from life, especially for us women. because we're most of the time we're caregivers, we're taking care of kids, you might be taking care of elderly loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
You need to pause. You need to pause. And here's the thing, and I'm speaking to the sisters now. A lot of times we call ourselves superwoman, and that's, you can be superwoman, but guess what? As a superwoman, in order to be that real boss in every aspect of your life, you need support. You cannot do everything on your own. There's some assignments that really isn't for you, that need to be delegated out. You need to let people know, like, hey, these are my parameters, whether it's family, friends, because we teach people how to treat us.
Mm-hmm.
And just giving people boundaries, in every aspect, even in your business. Clients should know, like, hey, outside of this time, I'm not available. But just being conscientious of keeping your cup overflowing. Because for many of us, we think of self-care is when we go get a mani-pedi.
Right.
And I'm sorry to tell you, sis, there's nothing wrong with going to get a mani-pedi, but that is not self-care. That's just, a little pampering experience. But the self-care, like those activities that I mentioned that you're doing the mental health detox, that's a form of self-care. Because self-care are activities that fuel you, whether it is fueling you emotionally or mentally, spiritually or physically. Those are the things that keep your well-being intact and your health intact.
I agree.
Hey, hope you're feeling the love in today's episode. We'll pick back up where we left off in a moment. First, we're excited to share that Tammy has a collection of self-love t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, and journals for you to express how much you love yourself to the world. From comfy hoodies to motivational mugs, there's something for everyone. While you're listening to today's show, feel free to browse the full collection at IamTammyNicole.com. Thank you, and without further ado, let's get back into today's show.
Self-care is a portion of self-love. It's not it. Like I always tell people, self-love does not equal self-care, but self-care is a reflection or a portion of self-love that says, I do love myself because I practice self-care techniques. A lot of times when we talk about loving ourselves, we forget that the forgiveness piece is important. We forget that self-worth is important. We forget that well-being, like wellness, like staying healthy, going to the doctor, eating well is important. Those things are a reflection of loving you, right? Like, I can't say I love myself if I don't set boundaries. And setting boundaries are not just for others, they're for myself as well. And boundaries without consequence is not a boundary, it's just a statement. So you have to be able to say, you know what? All of these things are important to my self-love journey, and loving me also helps me transform and renew, right? When I love myself, I can do a reset. I should be able to do a reset. And so when we are resetting, we are basically saying, you know what? I need to take a pause. I need to take a break. I'm going to renew my mind, do some, as you say, positive deposits, right? What you get out of something is based upon what you put into it. So you are going to give yourself something. Like you said, sit around, listen to some positive podcasts, read a book that's giving you some insight to do something healthy and better for yourself. A lot of times, we in our African American community tend to, I would say, we like to just listen. We don't like to always read or really empower ourselves with real knowledge. We just want to go to the quick fix. We want to go to social media. What are they saying? What are they saying? And I'm not saying social media is not a good thing, because I'm on social media to promote and give value and help people do something better with themselves. However, we don't want to really take the time to do the work. We want the quick fix. And so anything worth having is worth working for, right? But when we talk about self-love, we have to understand and know that self-love is a journey, not a destination. You will be doing this forever. You will forever be needing to take a pause. You will forever be needing to rejuvenate and renew and rebuild and rebirth who you are all the time. Because if you're not growing, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you should not be the same person today that you were this time last year. Like, every New Year's, you should not be saying, I need to go to the gym. I need to do a new gym membership. Like, that should not be the resolution that happens every year. You have to set in your mind and say, you know what, I'm going to be this person. I believe that I can be this person. I'm going to do the things required for this person to exist in my life. And that simply means renewing who you are. Transforming your mind is the biggest thing. I mean, the Bible say that, right?
Yeah.
Renew your mind. Like, that is the key to renewing your life. Now, I do say every year, it should be a new year, new you. And because you shouldn't be who you were last year.
It's a constant evolution in the growth of becoming your best self.
All day.
You know, every year is different, but you should be seeing progress. And if you're not seeing progress, you know, if you're just making resolutions willy-nilly, you know, me personally, with the people God has called me to serve, we don't do resolutions. We make goals that transform their life, because it's about making lifestyle changes, you know, and if you're resoluting, you know, and for most people it's the same. I want to lose weight. I want to get healthy.
Every year, that's the resolution.
Some accountability and make some real lifestyle changes. This is a plug. I gotta throw this in here as we talk about self-love. One resource that I highly recommend, especially for a Black woman, is the Love Letters to My Girls book. That book serves as a guide for us in unapologetically knowing our worth and loving the skin that we're in. And anyone who would like a copy of that book, if you go to my link tree, Healer Cassandra, I have a link on my link tree for that book, but I highly recommend it for us sisters.
Awesome. Yes, a lot of times we don't know where to start, right? We find it difficult to start. We make the decision, or we come to the conclusion, I need to do something different. I need to do something better. I just don't know how. I just don't know where to start. And for me, I always tell people to start journaling, right? Like, that's the first start. Like, journal how you're feeling about where you are, right? And also journal the vision. If I can see a thing, then I can kind of work towards it. But things that I cannot see, or things that are not tangible to me, it's very difficult to try to go after it. I need to be able to see it. And so sometimes seeing something that has not manifested or has not come to fruition is difficult. So my suggestion is always write it down. Because when you write it down, you can now see it, right? You have something to look at. You have something to work towards. So I say, write the vision, as the Bible say, write the vision and make it plain, right? So who you are as an individual, who you want to become, the things that you want to change, write them down, make them plain, make them visible for you to have a tangible thing to work towards, and then make a plan of what that looks like. Okay, I want to start a self-love journey. What does loving myself look like? So for me, loving myself looks like being able to set a boundary and comply to it. In other words, I don't just set it for other people. If I can't tell myself no when I've had enough, how am I going to tell somebody else no when I've had enough? Right. So I set a boundary of knowing my limits. Mm-hmm. Right. And then if I don't do those things, what are the consequences for myself when I don't say no? Okay, if I don't say no to a person, I'm going to be tired. I'm going to be overwhelmed. I'm going to be overworked. So that consequence is something I don't really want. I don't want that, right? If I don't say no to me, if I don't say no to them, those are the consequences that I'm getting. But what am I going to do the next go around? How am I going to change it? Writing all of those things down are super, super important. What are your tips in reference to having someone prepare or make the plan for the change?
Yes, proper preparation prevents poor performance. So you definitely want to be prepared and getting ready for your transformation. One thing that's really important is having a written plan in place that touches every aspect. I have a guide that I use with clients on creating that balance or harmony in your life. So you pay attention to how much time you spend working, have a plan in place. Like I'm going to work 3 days out the week, 4 days out the week. Your body isn't designed to go 24/7. So working every single day, and I realize as an entrepreneur, many of us think, yeah, I gotta go all day, every day. Well, no, because at some point you will, it's just like your car. If you drive and keep driving and keep driving and you hadn't put any fuel into it, at some point it's going to stop.
Absolutely.
And our bodies are no different. So just having a schedule in place to where you identify the days, the hours that you'll spend working, have a schedule in place for your household with tasks that's needed to keep the household going, delegating who does what. If you're in a household with multiple people, it should not fall on you. I know a lot of times as women, we think, oh yeah, I gotta cook, I gotta clean, well, no, if there's other people in that home that can chip in and do those things as well, and having a plan in place that touches on who's assigned to what is really important. And then even with your finances as well, having a plan in place for that, having a budget for your development, having a budget in place for conferences, events that feed you, having a budget for the entertainment, having a plan in place for, especially for my entrepreneurs, a reserve for the what ifs in business, just having a financial plan in place as well, and just writing that out. So especially as we go into a new year, you have in mind what moves you'll be making in this new season.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for joining us. I want you to tell the people how they can find you, how they can connect with you. As we go into the new year, they may need your services.
Yeah, the easiest way to connect with me and learn about all the things going on, because I definitely have some things that would be of interest to you if you're ready to grow into the best version of yourself in this new year. Connect with me on my link tree, which is linktree Healer Cassandra. And there you'll see all the services, products. We even got some freebies there, some tools that you can use in becoming the best version of you in this new season.
Awesome. Well, you guys heard it. You can go to her link tree and find everything out about her and what she provides and offers. And I just want y'all to be encouraged as you're going into this new year to know that a new year does mean a new you, but the new you is dependent upon how you see you, right? And never, ever forget, love yourself so much that the love from others is a bonus. See you in 2025. Happy New Year, guys. Season 3 will be probably in another 2 weeks because I am going to take a break. You guys have a good one.
That's a wrap on another episode of Loving Me Before I Love You. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a second to show your support by subscribing and leaving a positive rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Stay connected with Tammy. Make sure you're following her on Instagram and TikTok at Coach Tammy Nicole. If you like to work with Tammy or have any questions you'd like her to answer, please head over to www.IamTammyNicole.com. Until next time, always remember to love yourself so much that the love from others is a bonus.